The mansion was silent, except for the soft hum of the air conditioning. Outside, the sun was setting, casting long shadows across the marble floors. Inside, the house cleaner, Mrs. Thompson, moved quickly from room to room, her hands busy dusting and polishing. Her young son, Malik, followed closely behind, trying to help, but mostly getting in the way. "Be careful, Malik," Mrs. Thompson said sharply. "Don't touch anything expensive. Remember, one wrong move and it's trouble." Malik nodded, but his small hands trembled as he reached for a delicate vase. He had been trying to be helpful, but the weight of the mansion, the quiet tension, and his mother's strict voice made him nervous. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the hall. Malik froze. The vase lay in pieces at his feet. "Oh no," he whispered, panic rising in his chest. Mrs. Thompson spun around, her eyes wide with shock. "Malik, how many times have I told you? Be careful. I didn't mean to," he stammered, tears welling up in his eyes. "Please, ma'am. Please don't be mad." Mrs. Thompson sighed, trying to calm herself. She knew the Millionaire family would be home soon, and she couldn't afford another accident. "It's okay, Malik," she said softly, kneeling beside him. "We'll clean it up, just be more careful next time." Malik nodded, but the fear in his eyes didn't fade. Something else bothered him, something he couldn't explain. The mansion, grand and beautiful, felt strange tonight. Shadows seemed to stretch longer than they should. Floorboards creaked, even when no one walked on them. A faint whisper seemed to float through the hall, like someone or something was watching. "Do you hear that?" Malik whispered, clutching his mother's hand. "Hear what, baby?" Mrs. Thompson asked, glancing around nervously. That sound. "It's like someone's upstairs," Malik said, his voice shaking. Mrs. Thompson frowned. "There's no one here but us. You're just imagining things." But Malik wasn't imagining. The sound grew louder, a slow, deliberate step on the wooden floor above. A chill ran down his spine. He backed away, his small hands pressed against his ears. "Ma'am, please, stop," he cried suddenly, his voice breaking. Mrs. Thompson froze. "Stop what, Malik?" I can't. I just can't." Malik sobbed. He hid his face in his hands, trembling. "It's coming. I know it's coming." Mrs. Thompson's heart pounded. She pulled him close, wrapping her arms around him. "It's okay, Malik. Nothing's coming. I'm right here." But even as she spoke, the mansion seemed to grow colder. The curtain swayed, though no breeze entered through the closed windows. A faint, eerie glow reflected off the walls, and the shadows seemed to stretch. Reaching for them, Malik peeked up at her, wide-eyed. "Ma'am, what if it's the million?" He stopped, swallowing hard. Mrs. Thompson's stomach tightened. She didn't know what he was going to say, but she knew instinctively that the boy had seen or sensed something he shouldn't have. Something dangerous. Something that could ruin everything if the Millionaire found out. The air grew heavier. The ticking of the grandfather clock in the hall seemed deafening. Malik's sobs filled the room, echoing off the high ceilings. Mrs. Thompson held him tighter, whispering reassurances she didn't quite believe herself. And just then, a soft creak came from the stairs. A shadow moved at the top, but no figure appeared. Malik pressed closer to his mother. "Ma'am, I'm scared," he whispered. "I know, baby." "I know," she replied, her voice trembling. The mansion waited, silent and watchful, as the sun disappeared completely behind the horizon. Outside, the world seemed calm. Inside, the tension was almost unbearable. Whatever was coming would change everything, and Malik knew, deep in his heart, that tonight, nothing would ever be the same again. The mansion felt different now. Shadows lingered longer than before, stretching along the walls like dark fingers. Malik clung to his mother, his small body trembling. Even Mrs. Thompson, seasoned and strong, felt a chill she couldn't explain. "Malik, listen to me," she whispered, guiding him toward the living room. "We need to finish quickly before the millionaire comes home. Understand?" He nodded, but his eyes were wide with fear. "Ma'am, I saw something." "Upstairs," he said, voice shaking. "Something moved." "I know it did." Mrs. Thompson froze for a moment. She had walked these halls countless times, but tonight the mansion seemed alive, almost watching them. She tried to dismiss it as imagination, but the tight knot in her stomach refused to go away. "Let's just focus on the cleaning," she said, forcing a calm tone. "It's probably just a shadow, Malik, that's all." But Malik shook his head violently. "No, it's not just a shadow. It was watching me. I heard whispers. Like someone wanted me to be scared." Mrs. Thompson's heart raced. She had never seen her son this terrified. She knelt down and looked him in the eyes. "Malik, tell me exactly what you saw." He swallowed hard and took a deep breath. "I saw a hand on the railing upstairs, but no one was there. And then I heard my name. It wasn't you. It wasn't anyone I know. I swear, ma'am, I don't know what it wants." Mrs. Thompson's mind spun. She had worked for the Millionaire family for years, but she had never seen or heard anything like this. Something in the mansion was different tonight. Something dangerous, okay. "We need to stay calm," she said. "Let's finish our work quietly, and don't go near the stairs, okay?" Malik nodded, but the fear didn't leave his eyes. He kept glancing toward the staircase, his small hands clenched tightly. Every creak of the floorboards made him flinch. Every shadow seemed to twist and grow dim as they moved from room to room. Cleaning and tidying, Malik's whispers grew more frantic. "Ma'am, it's following me. I feel it." Mrs. Thompson stopped for a moment, glancing around the room. At first, she saw nothing. Then, a small object slid across the polished floor, a book falling from the shelf. But no one had touched it. She bent down, picking it up. The cover was old, leather-bound, and heavy. She flipped through it quickly. Pages filled with handwriting, drawings, and strange symbols stared back at her. Her pulse quickened. "Malik, this book. It's not yours. Did you touch it?" "No, I didn't. I swear." Malik cried. Mrs. Thompson's stomach churned. This book was wrong. She had never seen it in the mansion before. And yet, it was here now. Something was changing inside the house. Something the millionaire didn't know. Something Malik had sensed. A low creak came from upstairs, louder this time. Malik pressed against her, tears streaming down his face. "It's coming, ma'am. I know it's coming." Before she could respond, a shadow moved across the wall near the staircase. She froze. The shadow lingered, and for a brief moment, it looked almost human. Malik gasped and tried to run, but she grabbed him firmly. "Stay with me," she whispered. Her mind raced. The millionaire could arrive any minute. If he saw the fear in Malik's eyes or this strange book, or the moving shadows, everything could be ruined. Malik buried his face in her shoulder. "Ma'am, please. Don't let it get me." Mrs. Thompson held him tightly, whispering reassurances she didn't entirely believe herself. The mansion waited in silence. Outside, the world was calm and quiet. Inside, every shadow, every creak, every whisper felt like a warning. And deep down, Mrs. Thompson knew one thing. Whatever was in this house, it wasn't just a shadow. It was waiting, watching, and tonight, it would not be ignored. The mansion's silence had grown heavier, almost suffocating. Every footstep, every creak of the floorboards, felt louder than it should. Malik clung to his mother's hand, his small fingers trembling. The shadows stretched and moved strangely across the walls, as if they were alive, whispering secrets the two of them couldn't understand. "Stay close to me," Mrs. Thompson whispered. "No matter what happens, don't let go." Malik nodded, but fear painted his eyes like dark storm clouds. He kept looking toward the staircase, where the shadow had appeared earlier. Every small noise made him jump. The house no longer felt safe, it felt like a trap, waiting to close around them. Then it happened. A soft, deliberate creak came from the hallway. Malik froze. "Ma'am, it's here," he whispered, barely audible. Mrs. Thompson tensed. She hadn't heard the door open, but a cold draft brushed past her, making the hairs on her arms stand on end. Something or someone was moving in the mansion. Something they could neither see nor understand. Malik tugged at her sleeve. "Please, ma'am. I can't." Listen to me. We're okay. It's just the house," she tried to reassure him, though her voice lacked conviction, but Malik knew it wasn't just the house. He could feel it. The way the shadows twisted. The way the air seemed thicker, heavier, like someone or something was breathing right behind them. Suddenly, the lights flickered, plunging the room into near darkness for a moment. Malik shrieked, clutching his mother's arm. "Ma'am, stop." "I can't," he broke off, staring at the hallway. Mrs. Thompson followed his gaze, and saw it too. A faint silhouette standing at the edge of the shadows. It was fleeting, almost unreal, but it was enough to send her heart racing. "Stay behind me," she commanded, pulling Malik closer. "Whatever it is, we face it together." The boy nodded, tears streaming down his face, but his fear only made him cling tighter. "Ma'am, it's going to get me," he cried. Then came the whisper, a soft, chilling voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. "Malik." He froze. His breathing quickened. His small body shook violently. No, please, stop." Mrs. Thompson's heart pounded. She couldn't see anyone, but the voice was real, unmistakable, and it called her son's name. Every instinct screamed danger. Every shadow seemed to stretch closer, reaching for them. "Malik, listen to me," she whispered, gripping his shoulders. "Do not answer it. Do you understand? Ignore it. Focus on me." He nodded barely, but the tension in his chest was unbearable. The whispers grew louder, more urgent, echoing through the mansion like a warning. The house seemed to breathe around them, the air thick and suffocating, and then another sound. The distant sound of footsteps, heavy and deliberate, moving slowly down the stairs. Malik clutched her, sobbing. "Ma'am, it's coming." "I know it is." Mrs. Thompson pressed him against her chest. "It's okay, baby. I've got you, I promise." But even as she whispered, she knew the truth. Whoever or whatever was moving through the mansion tonight had been waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for Malik to make a mistake, to show fear, to let the walls of this house close in on them. Her mind raced. How would she protect her son if the millionaire arrived unexpectedly? How could she explain the shadows, the whispers, the fear in his eyes? Every second stretched longer, heavier, until it felt like time itself had stopped. And Malik, pressed against her, whimpered softly, barely audible. "Ma'am, please, don't let it take me." The mansion watched in silence, knowing the moment of confrontation was coming. And neither Malik nor Mrs. Thompson could escape it. The mansion seemed to hold its breath. Every shadow, every creak of the floor, every flicker of the lights whispered a warning. Malik clung to his mother's hand, tears streaming down his cheeks. The fear in his eyes was raw, unshakable, like he had seen the impossible. "Malik, we need to stay calm," Mrs. Thompson whispered. But even as she spoke, her heart pounded with a mix of fear and dread. She knew something wasn't right. The mansion felt alive. Watching, waiting. Then Malik spoke, his voice barely above a whisper. "Ma'am, I have to tell you something. Something I shouldn't have Something about the millionaire. Mrs. Thompson froze. Her grip on his hand tightened. What do you mean? Tell me slowly, Malik. He swallowed hard, his small chest rising and falling rapidly. I saw him, the millionaire. He isn't what he seems. He's hiding something in this house. Something dangerous. Mrs. Thompson's eyes widened. She had worked for the family for years, cleaning, organizing, keeping everything perfect. She had never suspected anything unusual beyond the typical wealth and power, but Malik's fear was real. And now she had to believe him. What did you see? She asked, her voice trembling. Malik took a deep breath. I saw a room, hidden behind the library. He keeps things there. Things no one should ever see. And tonight he's coming home, and I think he knows I've been looking. A chill ran down Mrs. Thompson's spine. She glanced toward the library. Books lined the shelves neatly, but the sense of hidden danger made her stomach turn. She had always thought the mansion's secrets were harmless old letters, jewelry, maybe antique documents. But Malik's words suggested something darker, something she couldn't ignore. Malik, did you touch anything? She asked softly, trying to keep her voice calm. No, I swear, ma'am, I peeked. I just wanted to know why the shadows feel wrong. And then I heard the whispers. They told me not to tell, but I had to. I couldn't stay quiet, he said, voice trembling. Mrs. Thompson's mind raced. She had to protect him. She had to protect herself. The millionaire could return any moment. If he discovered Malik had seen something, the consequences could be unimaginable. Okay, she whispered, pulling him close. We need to be careful. We finish our work quietly. No one can know what we've seen. Understand? Malik nodded, but his eyes stayed wide, scanning the room nervously. Ma'am, it's upstairs now. I can feel it moving. Double quotes. Mrs. Thompson's heart skipped a beat. She followed Malik's gaze toward the staircase. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, the lights flickered again, and a shadow shifted at the top of the stairs. Stay close, she whispered, gripping his hand tightly. And then it happened, the faintest click of a door unlocking somewhere deep in the house. Malik gasped. That's it, the room. It's opening. Mrs. Thompson swallowed hard. She knew they were running out of time. The truth was about to be revealed, whether they were ready or not. And whatever awaited in that hidden room, it was more terrifying than she could have imagined. Malik buried his face against her shoulder. Ma'am, I don't want to see it. I can't, please. She hugged him tightly. I know, baby. I know. We just have to wait, just a little longer. The mansion seemed to shift around them. The shadows grew deeper, the air colder, as if the house itself were warning them. And in that silence, both mother and son knew one thing with absolute certainty. The millionaire's secret was about to be exposed. And tonight, nothing would ever be the same. The sound of the front gate closing echoed through the mansion. Malik's small body tensed immediately. He's home. He's home, he whispered, his voice trembling. Mrs. Thompson's heart raced. She had anticipated this moment, but nothing could prepare her for the fear curling in her stomach. The millionaire, the man who had always been a shadowy figure in the house, was stepping inside, and every instinct screamed that he would notice something was wrong. Stay calm, she whispered, pressing Malik close. No sudden moves, just stay quiet. Malik nodded, but his hands shook violently. Every creak of the floors, every flicker of light made him flinch. The shadows seemed to grow heavier, darker, as if the mansion itself were conspiring against them. And then the door to the grand hall opened. The millionaire walked in, tall and composed, his expensive suit perfectly pressed. His eyes swept across the room, sharp and calculating. Good evening, he said casually, but his gaze lingered a fraction too long on Malik. The boy shrank back, pressing against his mother. Ma'am. He's looking at me. Mrs. Thompson swallowed, trying to steady her breathing. She forced a calm smile. Good evening, sir. We were just finishing up the cleaning. Everything is perfect as always. The millionaire's eyes flickered toward the hallway, where Malik's small frame cowered in the shadows. Is that so? He said, voice calm but with an edge. I thought I heard some disturbances, Malik whimpered. I didn't mean anything, sir. The millionaire's gaze sharpened. Something in the mansion shifted, an almost imperceptible change in the air. The shadows seemed to whisper, moving across the walls like dark rivers. Mrs. Thompson felt her stomach tighten. Whatever secret Malik had seen, the millionaire now knew something was amiss. Come here, Malik, the millionaire said slowly. His voice was low but carried a weight that made the boy freeze. Mrs. Thompson stepped forward, placing herself between them. Sir, please. He's just a child. He didn't. The millionaire raised a hand, silencing her with a single gesture. He knelt slightly, looking Malik directly in the eyes. I know what you've seen, he said softly, almost a whisper. And I know what you know. Malik's eyes widened. His small mouth opened and closed, but no sound came out. He had never imagined the millionaire could know. Mrs. Thompson felt a cold sweat run down her back. She had feared confrontation, punishment, even wrath, but this was something else entirely. The millionaire straightened, his expression unreadable. This house holds many secrets, he said, voice calm, almost casual. Some are dangerous. Some are necessary. Tonight, you've both discovered one you weren't meant to. Malik whimpered, pressing closer to his mother. Please, ma'am, do something. Mrs. Thompson shook her head, powerless. She could only hold him, whispering reassurances she didn't entirely believe. The millionaire's eyes scanned the room again, then lingered on the floor where the hidden book lay open. He walked slowly toward it, each step measured, deliberate. He bent down, his fingers brushing the pages lightly, then looked up at Mrs. Thompson and Malik. You've seen this, he said quietly, but it's not time for fear. You have two choices, obey or leave. The mansion seemed to hold its breath. Every shadow paused, every flicker of light waited. Malik's small hands gripped his mother's tightly, and Mrs. Thompson's heart pounded like a drum. For a moment, silence ruled. And then, just as Malik was about to speak, the millionaire smiled faintly, not cruelly, not warmly, but like someone who had always known the outcome. You have until tomorrow to decide, he said, voice calm, leaving a chill in the air that neither Malik nor his mother could shake. And with that, he turned and disappeared into the deeper halls of the mansion, leaving behind a tension so thick it could be cut with a knife. Malik clung to his mother, shaking violently. Ma'am, what does he mean? Malik whispered. Mrs. Thompson held him tighter, swallowing hard. I don't know, baby. But whatever it is, we'll face it, together. Outside, the night was quiet, but inside, the mansion seemed alive with secrets yet to be revealed. And tonight, neither mother nor son would sleep. Not until the truth, dark, dangerous, and impossible to ignore, revealed itself fully. The mansion was quiet again, but the tension hung thick in the air. Malik stayed close to his mother, trembling, his small hands gripping hers like lifelines. The millionaire had disappeared into the deeper halls, but his presence lingered like a shadow that refused to leave. Ma'am, what will he do to us? Malik whispered, his voice breaking. Mrs. Thompson shook her head, swallowing hard. She didn't have an answer, not yet. She had feared the millionaire's wrath for years, but tonight felt different. He wasn't angry. Not in the way she expected. Something about him was calculating, deliberate, and terrifying. Then, the soft click of a door echoed through the hallway. Malik flinched. The millionaire appeared in the doorway of the library, holding the leather-bound book in his hands. The pages were open, revealing the strange symbols and sketches Malik had seen earlier. "This is what you've discovered," the millionaire said calmly. His eyes scanned the room, then softened slightly when they met Malik's fearful gaze. "And I see you understand more than I expected." Malik shrank back. I didn't mean to." "You didn't mean to?" the millionaire repeated, his voice low but even. "No, you didn't. And yet, curiosity has its consequences." Mrs. Thompson's heart raced. She held Malik tighter, bracing for punishment. But instead of anger, the millionaire did something unexpected. He knelt down slowly, putting the book on the floor between them. "This book contains truths about this family. And about this house," he said. "Things you were never meant to see. Dangerous things. Things that can change how you live, how you survive." Malik peeked from behind his mother. Are we in danger?" The millionaire looked at him, his expression unreadable. Then, almost gently, he spoke. "Only if you choose fear over understanding. You have a choice. You can leave this house and never return. Or you can stay, learn, and survive. It will not be easy. It will not be safe. But if you are brave, you will live." Mrs. Thompson's mind raced. For years, she had feared this man, his wealth, and his power. But now, she saw a different side. A side that demanded respect, that required courage, but also a side capable of mercy, perhaps even guidance. Malik swallowed hard. I want to stay," he whispered, voice trembling but firm. "I don't want to run." The millionaire nodded slowly, almost approvingly. "Very well," he said. "Then listen carefully. There are rules in this house. Some things you must never touch. Some things you must never ask about. But some you will learn, in time. And if you follow these rules, you will be safe." Mrs. Thompson exhaled a breath she hadn't realized she'd been holding. The tension that had gripped her chest for hours began to loosen, though unease still lingered. Malik's small hands remained in hers, but he straightened slightly. Emboldened by the millionaire's words, the shadows in the room seemed to shift. Less threatening now, as if acknowledging the understanding between them. The mansion no longer felt like a trap. It was still dangerous, still full of secrets, but for the first time, Mrs. Thompson felt a flicker of hope. The millionaire stood, closing the book gently. "Remember," he said, his voice firm. "This house has eyes and ears. It watches. It listens. Fear can betray you. Courage can save you." With that, he walked toward the main hall, leaving Mrs. Thompson and Malik alone with the echoes of his presence. Malik clung to his mother, his wide eyes reflecting both fear and awe. "Ma'am, he's different than I thought," Malik whispered. "Yes, baby," she replied softly, hugging him close. "But we'll be okay, as long as we stick together." Outside, the night remained still. Inside, the mansion held its secrets, but now there was a fragile balance. Fear had been acknowledged. Truth had been revealed, and for the first time, mother and son felt, if only slightly, that they might survive what lay ahead. And somewhere deep in the shadows, the millionaire watched, waiting, knowing that the real test was not over, and that tomorrow would bring new challenges. The mansion was quiet, but the air was thick with unease. Shadows still lingered in the corners, moving slightly, as if the house itself remembered the tension of the night. Malik and his mother sat together in the living room, still trembling, but slowly catching their breath. The millionaire's words had hung over them like a warning and a promise. "Ma'am, do you think he's telling the truth?" Malik whispered, his small hands gripping hers. "About the rules? About the house?" Mrs. Thompson swallowed hard. I think so, baby. He's different than we thought. Dangerous, yes, but not cruel. Not tonight, at least." Malik nodded slowly, but the fear didn't leave his eyes. He glanced toward the staircase, where shadows still danced faintly. "I still feel like he's watching me," he admitted. Mrs. Thompson hugged him tightly. "He is watching, but now we know the rules. We can survive. And that's what matters." For a moment, there was silence. The mansion seemed to settle around them, as if approving of the fragile truce. Yet deep down, both mother and son knew that tonight was only the beginning. Suddenly, a faint noise echoed from upstairs, a soft, deliberate creak, almost like a footstep. Malik froze, pressing closer to his mother. "Ma'am, it's him." Mrs. Thompson's heart skipped a beat. "No, baby. It's probably just the house settling. Remember what he said. Shadows and sounds. They are part of this place." Malik nodded, but his small hands trembled as he looked toward the staircase. The mansion had a way of keeping secrets, and tonight, it had shared one with them. Hours passed, and the mansion grew quiet again. Outside, the first light of dawn began to creep through the windows, casting long pale beams across the polished floors. Malik and his mother had cleaned and organized everything as best as they could, but the tension in the house remained. Then, a soft knock echoed from the front door. Mrs. Thompson froze. Malik clutched her hand tightly. The millionaire's voice came from the doorway. "Good morning." They turned slowly. He stood there, calm, composed, and once again perfectly dressed. But this time, there was a faint smile on his face, a smile that sent chills down Malik's spine. "You followed the rules," he said, his gaze scanning the room. "You showed courage. That matters more than fear." Malik swallowed hard, but he felt a strange sense of relief. "Thank you." "Sir," he whispered. The millionaire nodded, then looked around the mansion with a careful, assessing eye. "This house, it tests everyone who enters. Some fail, some survive, and some learn." Mrs. Thompson realized the truth now. This mansion wasn't just a home, it was a challenge, a test. And tonight, they had survived the first trial. But she also knew the millionaire's smile hid more than just approval. There was a deeper layer, a secret yet unrevealed, that could change everything at any moment. Malik's small voice broke the silence. "Ma'am, will it ever stop? The shadows? The whispers?" Mrs. Thompson shook her head slowly. "No, baby. Not really. But we've learned how to live with them. And survive." The millionaire lingered for a moment longer, then turned toward the main hall, disappearing into the shadows of the mansion once again. Malik and his mother watched him go, the weight of the night still heavy on their shoulders. And then, the mansion shifted. A small object fell from a shelf, a key, old and mysterious. Malik picked it up with trembling hands. "Ma'am, what is this?" She examined it closely, her heart racing. "I don't know, Malik, but it's another secret. Another test." Outside, the world seemed calm and ordinary, but inside the mansion, danger and mystery still lurked in every corner. And as Malik held the key, he realized something chilling. The millionaire's secrets were far from over. The house, the shadows, the whispers, they were only the beginning. And tonight, Malik and his mother understood one truth clearly. Surviving the mansion meant more than following rules. It meant facing fear, uncovering secrets, and accepting that some truths would never be simple or safe. The mansion waited, silent, patient, and full of secrets yet to be revealed.